What up, world? DJ on the mic, and you know what it is. Chopping and screwing it because we're diving into BT11, and I absolutely love Jesmon, and I feel like Jesmon is going to be pretty hot in BT11, especially since Black War Greymon X is going to be absolutely rampant. I swear it's going to be the boogeyman of the set, so we need to make sure that any Jesmon enthusiasts are equipped in terms of diving into BT11. So in this video, I'm going to give you two renditions of Jesmon decks, one being more Jesmon GX focused, and then the other one being more Jesmon and Jesmon X control focus. So if this is video for you as I go through these decks, then make sure you stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, make sure you subscribe and turn the notification bell because I do videos on the reg. Okay, so let's dive straight into the Jesmon GX focused deck build first. So as you can see here, slight few changes. As you know, we are rocking in Eggwise with the Sukutomon, which from BT4 is actually pretty spicy if you're focusing on that big Jesmon GX combo, because when attacking once per turn, you're able to gain a memory if you are attacking with a level 7 Digimon, which is obviously Jesmon GX. So gaining that memory just reduces that Digivolution cost down massively, and that's the main thing that we want to be doing here, is not passing over too much memory to the opposition, because let's face it, that ain't a good look. So want to kind of reduce that to make sure that our Exodia board is just exactly that, like they can't come back from it. So run that for and no less, and that is it. So no Gurumon in this build, because we do have ways to draw anyway. We can draw a plethora of cards from searches, from inhibitables, from BT7 Hookmon. We're pretty much equipped in that, but it's that memory gain that we don't have, which is what we're going to be needing. So going on into the rookies here, as you can see, we're going to go with a few techs. So Galsmon for that Hydramon like matchup, it's awful. Honestly, it's one of those matchups where if you just don't have the right inheritables in the stack, you're pretty much lost. So hopefully Galsmon can just kind of slow them down with obviously their Digisorption, which, you know, they can pretty much Evo for free if they pretty much suspend, which is just crazy because they're going to be reducing that Digivolution cost. This actually prevents that. So just having one kind of Galsmon is kind of nice. It really depends on your local scene if you want to kind of flip the ratios between Solomon and Galsmon, but I feel like because you're going more the Exodia, spawning out your Systemons, I feel like Solomon's going to take more precedence in this build. So this is the reason why I run two, just because those defect plays really just disrupt the board by a fair bit, and it just makes your efforts just pretty much worthless at that point. So definitely run this at 2 for sure. So your tech pieces are kind of running at 3 in the deck. And then a standard, you know, you've got to run the Searcher Hookmon. It's just too OP to not be in the deck. Come on. Any lower, I'd be like, well, unless you're running the Gankumon essentially focused GX build. But because we're still running the Jesmon build, I feel like this is still definitely a staple at 4. Real top 5, get 2 cards if they've got Hookmon in its name, Systemon, or Jesmon. It's just the worth, absolute worth right there. Definitely run that no less. And then obviously for the kind of the inheritable, which is going to be doing an additional search for those Systemons, you know, reveal top 5, get any Systemon from that reveal, which is just the source, but you do have to obviously approach with caution because you can just bottom deck a lot of your key pieces and it happens. But you know what, we can't control RNG unfortunately. So then we go to the Systemon. So standard Systemon Blanc, this is part of that Exodia combo, just making sure that you can grant your other Systemon's blocker when this girl is out, and then on play draw 1, really good source of draw once again. And then this one's going to play absolute key parts because this is Systemon Blanc from the starter deck, and this can trash one card from your hand, so it doesn't matter what it is as long as you're trashing something and you draw 2. Really good Pot of Greed source, we love to see it. And then the thing right here is obviously it grants your red or black Digimon decoy, which is just the nuts. And say if the opponent was going to do a Crimson Blaze, you can actually proc this off and save that red or black Digimon there too. So really strong card right there. Definitely run that at 2 for sure. So that concludes with the rookies, running that 14 in total. Going on to then the champions, another 14 split right here, and we've kind of adjusted the ratios in terms of the barrel hooks right now. So barrel hook in terms of the BT6, and this is the event pack which I am collecting. This is just really strong in terms of just removing Digimon or pesky floodgates is just really good. I mean, like with the Bloom Lord Hydramon matchup, it's, you know, getting rid of that freaking Paumon, the freaking stupid dragon fruit, really just cancels this deck straight up. This mon is really nice in just enabling you, if you have a Systemon, so make sure you obviously get a Systemon out already, to just delete a 5k DP or less Digimon is just the sauce, absolutely sauce. You want to be running that for sure. And then we've actually reduced the barrel hook mon from the starter deck just to 3. It is obviously great. That 1000 DP all turns is the nuts, like really strong. But because we're going to be spawning out Systemons, we're going to be getting our BT6 CL out there as well. DP threshold is usually pretty high, but regardless, it's still a very strong card, but we can afford to just drop it by 1. I don't feel like we have that much of an issue in terms of actually searching out champions. Champions isn't the issue. It's the ultimates currently at the moment, which is the issue. Come on, BT13, come clutch. So going on into sisters for the champion. So BT6CL, honestly, I really want to boost this up to 3. I would love it at 3 because it's just so much worth it. You know, all turns, any Digimon, well, Digimon with Hookmon in their names or Raw Knights in the traits, just gain 2000 DP. That's huge. That's huge. All turns as well. I love the phrase all turns winning. And then on play game one memory, it's just great. You can play this for 3 costs. This is essentially like a rookie as well as a champion. It really helps with the Chimeramon plays, really helps if you've just not got your, you know, your rookies in hand. So really staple card. Do run that at 2. So we've actually bumped the BT10 Systemon CL up to 3. This is going to be really crucial in order to really climb up and just keep going with that nice GX combo, because what it enables you is essentially it's like an X antibody in a sense. It triggers on your turn one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a Digimon card with Royal Knights in its trait from your hand for its Digivolution cost. So once in the main place, you swing with your Jesmon starter deck, you go into X antibody. Effectively that is 3 already, but you will gain a memory, which is then technically going to reduce the cost of your GX play by 1 there too. And then it's just the absolute sauce. But obviously if you play another one of your Jesmon X, then you're able to trigger it again. So it's just this nice stepping stone, getting your Systemons out and just creating that board which you do want to be creating. As well, another thing that is really quite hot with this card is that your turn, once per turn, when one of your Digimon Digivolves into a Digimon with Hookmon in its name or Royal Knights in its traits, gain 1 memory. So obviously for the GX combo, we're gaining memory, reducing that cost. But if they're still out on the field and you happen to have like a Hookmon in Raising, you draw out and you happen to have 2 of these, then effectively you're going into Bow Hookmon for 3, because then you're able to trigger this off and gain 2 memory if you have 2 of these out on the field, which is pretty powerful right there. Obviously if you do go into your GX combo and you basically get the nuts, you go Jesmon X, you go into GX, you slide underneath the Gankumon X antibody. This Jesmon CL is going to be sitting at 9k, which is massive. So 9 times out of 10, to get rid of it, it's going to be incredibly tough unless it's going to be a deletion based on level. That's pretty much it. But anything that's based on DP, it's going to be very hard to get rid of this mon. And if you've got Systemon Blanc out, you know, you've got a 9k blocker on field there too, which is just super strong. So we have boosted that up to 3. Originally, when I first started out using Jesmon, I did have it at 3 and it was working flawlessly. So I'm definitely happy to kind of bring that back in this build for BT11. Then going on to Systemon CL from the starter deck, this is obviously going to be good for that reboot, making sure that your GX can just restand, be a heavy blocker out on the field, which is good. Its on play is pretty strong there as well. I'll be able to reveal top 3, add a card with Hookmon in its name or Royal Knights in its traits, and then trash the rest. So it's going to be, if you happen to reveal a whole bunch of Systemons, you trash them. It's not so much of an issue because essentially that's part of the win con. You're basically building up your second hand, which is winning right there. So do run that at 2. Obviously, if you're not kind of going GX focus, you can slide that down to 1, and that's what you'll see in my other build. So that concludes it for the champions, running that at 14. So then going on to the ultimate. So like I say, I like Chimeramon at 3. I'm that kind of guy who doesn't want to get bottleneck or be. The reason why I lost is because I couldn't even get to Jesmon, but because we're focused on that big turn, we can't make some sacrifices. So going into the standard, the OG of the savior hook is just the one that got restricted to 1, unfortunately, but it's still pretty crucial in terms of what this deck is trying to do. Because we still have Chimeramon, we can still utilize its actual when attacking ESS, is that if you have a Systemon, if you have a Digimon with Systemon its name in play, unsuspend this Digimon, which is huge, by the way, because whatever's on top of this, and there's a Systemon out on field, you can just multi-swing. You can swing and swing again, which is really good. Because when I was going into Chimeramon one game, and I was like, well, I can actually swing twice and claim game. Boom, swing, nice. Didn't have a Digimon in the stack, swing again, winning. So really powerful card. If you happen to see this off of a search that's going to trash something, so say off like Master Disciple, honestly, slide this bad boy in the trash because he will help you out come late game. Honestly, really good. But regardless, if you do have him in hand and you are forced to kind of use him, not even a problem, because we do run BT10 CL at 3, which is going to be crucial because when Digivolving, you may play a Digimon card with Systemon in its name without paying its memory cost. So if you then bring out that BT10 CL, trigger its on play to Digivolve into then Jesmon, you can go in there swinging. Granted, a lot of memory is then passing, but at least it's a play that you can execute right there. So do run that at 1 because we have no choice. Standard, we do run the starter deck savior at 4. I mean, why would we not run that at 4? Because it's going to be crucial for you to obviously execute those Systemon swarms that we do need to happen. Obviously, it's when Digivolving can attack unsuspended for the turn, which is obviously again still quite strong. The issue that we have at the moment was obviously BT10 is that we're going to have to kind of like wait in the back to essentially wait for the opposition to come out first. So this is where obviously the options that we do have in this deck that we can obviously use and kind of tech in to then still have this ability. But regardless, if we do have enough like Master Disciples out and we can kind of go in for that Evo and go for that swing, then it's an absolute great effect to have. Obviously, it's when attacking, able to swarm out a Systemon from hand or trash being the key thing here. So make sure if you are going into Jesmon, execute that blitz, really think about how you're using your Systemons. If you know that you can put a Systemon in trash, which you want to essentially use, do it that way. For example, if you go into starter deck Systemon Blanc first, but you trigger that based on the Jesmon effect, which can only play Systemon from your hand, use that. Trash BT10 CL, for example, draw 2 cards, trigger this effect, bring out BT10 CL out, and then execute a Digivolve into your Jesmon X X antibody, and then you're cooking on gas, guys. You're cooking on absolute gas. That's how you want to be doing it. So make sure you plan out your Systemon plays, because that's the thing that really sometimes, why you're taking out is because you're not figuring out how to efficiently use those Systemons that you in your hand or in your trash. So do run that at 4. Then lastly, we do run Chimeramon at 2. So like I say, I love Chimeramon, and it is unfortunate that we do have to run this bad boy at 2 because it's just so good to just use those Systemons to just slap them together, get that Evo, you're cooking on gas, and you're just kind of getting that tempo up again. That free Evo is huge. So, really, really strong card. I'm not going to break through what Tamer does, but the main thing for this is just utilizing your Systemons to DNA for free, and then going into your Jesmon and starting off that combo all over again. So really, really strong card. Do run that at 2. Obviously, the issue here is that it is unsearchable, so you do have to kind of draw into it. But if you do draw into it, just hang on to it. It will do you wonders. So that concludes it for the Ultimates, running that at 7. So let's go over to the Megas. So Megas right here, but standard, we do run the Jesmon. Start deck, it's the main facilitator for the whole combo shenanigans right here. It's such a strong card. That Blitz is just huge for the playstyle of this deck. When attacking, you can play a card with Systemon in its name from your hand without paying its memory cost. Key thing here, only from your hand. And then if you've played a Digimon, and this is once per turn, by this effect, you're able to gain 3000 DP and a security attack +1 for the turn, which is just massive. It means that your Jesmon GX can just swing in for that massive damage. Technically, can swing in for 5 checks. Huge, really, really strong. Do want to be running that at 3. Definitely a really, really good card. Then on top of that, then you want to go with your Jesmon X antibody, and that's going to be running at 2. So this obviously be able to grant that piercing, which is sweet. Swing over any big boss monster that might be in your way, especially obviously with Blackwall Greymon. You want to be swinging through and still applying that good checks that this whole play can really, really do, and just speed up the gameplay for you massively. But then when Digivolving, you're able to play a Systemon from hand or trash, which is once again huge. And then you're able to, if there's a Systemon on the field or have a Jesmon in stack, then you're able to attack unsuspended, or your Digimon, being the key thing, can attack unsuspended Digimon and then gain 2000 TP, which is massive. And that's to the end of your opponent's turn as well, which is just really, really strong. Absolutely great card to have. But once it's kind of like done, once this turn's done and the opponent's turn's done, then it's just pretty much just got piercing, which is a little bit of a letdown. But like I say, we just facilitate that the Jesmon GX combo. Then the source is going to be your boy Giga Chad. Honestly, such a great card. Artwork is on point, absolute fire. Jesmon X, the teacher who's brought this boy to the max right here. So he is a blocker, which is pretty sweet. We don't really have much blockers outside obviously Systemon CLs and well, Systemon Blancs. So to have like a top end blocker is pretty sick right here. But we've kind of brought him in obviously for the when Digivolving. This is the thing that's probably going to carry Jesmon throughout BT11, if I'm honest. Because when Digivolving, you may play Digimon with Systemon in its name from your hand or trash. That pays its cost once again, just swarming the field, which is going to be good. And then if Gankamon is in this Digimon stack, let's just go with that, or the Systemon out in play, then all of your Digimon gain 2000 DP, and your opponent effects can't return them to hand or deck or reduce their DP, which is pretty massive against like the Setcon matchup. This is just a must, like absolutely a must, like nothing worse than getting Chaos Deed. Awful. Absolutely awful right there. DP reduction, getting a freaking Wyvern's Breath, not a problem. Gankumon's got you covered, my guy. So really strong card here. Obviously when we go into the next set right there, you know, we do obviously, you know, we can't get rid around Hades Force. That's going to be an absolute menace. Still okay with the secure control when we're versing against Bloom Lord / Hydramon. You know, Hydramon can't just bottom deck this stack because we're under the protection of Gankumon. We're sitting pretty nicely. There's still going to be other threats that just pretty much walk around this effect, but the main ones that are going to be kind of relevant in next set is yeah, we're sitting pretty okay. right there. So we do run that there at 2. Unfortunately, you know, most of the cards that we do have, there's a chance that it might be bottom decks, but if it's for Jesmon GX play to kind of go down, it can pick from hand or trash. So even if one Gankamon's in your security, boom, you're pretty much going to be able to drag that out of the trash and get it into your stack, which is just nice. But speaking of Jesmon GX, we do run this bad boy at 2. Jesmon GX is going to be obviously your main combo play right here, which is going to be good because it's searchable. I think 2's just enough. I think 3, that's when you kind of go into Jesmon Turbo kind of plays right there, but you don't want to just have a bricky hand full of GXs, which is, you know, not the worth. But regardless, 15 KDP, really strong. 5 cost evolution, which is not bad because we will, when we have Sakutamon, that's essentially going to be a 4 cost right there. Depending on how many Systemon CLs, BT10 that we have out, and say if we haven't procced their ability yet, we can just reduce that cost there as well. So effectively, we could get this down to, what, 2 cost in essence, which is pretty strong right there. So when digivolving, you may place 1 Digimon card with Royal Knights in its traits and a play cost of 13 or less from your hand or trash at the bottom of this Digivolution card stack, which is good. Then activate one of the cards when digivolving effects from the Digimon. So that's when you go essentially Gankamon, being the prime example, is going to be obviously triggering his effect, spawning out Systemon, which is obviously going to be the nuts, depending on what system you bring out. Ideally, you want to bring out the reboot one, or if you can bring out, well, essentially a reboot one and a Systemon Blanc, you're sitting pretty comfortably, or a decoy and a Systemon Blanc, so you just got kind of got that blocker Systemon on deck, using that ability just to make all your other Systemon's blocker, which just makes it a very unbreakable board right there. And then it gains Blitz, which is just absolutely nutty. Then all turns, when this card with Royal Knights in its traits, and its Digivolution stack, then this Digimon gains Piercing, Blocker, and gains Secure Attack +1 for each card. So this is where essentially the OTK 5-check slapback can really come clutch, because you'll get a Security Attack +1 off your Jesmon starter deck standard. Depending on what Evos essentially what Royal Knights you've stacked under. So say if you've managed to go into your Jesmon X, and then you've gone into your Jesmon GX, you've slid underneath a Gankamon, then you're going to be having 5 checks, including obviously the one that this has natively, which is just banging. And then you've built that unbreakable board, and the opponent has to answer it. He has to actually answer it, and that's where this can be really strong. Obviously, the main thing with this whole combo is that it gives the opponent a lot of memory, and it can be broken. It definitely can be broken. But Digivolve from Black War Greymon is just ruthless. Just cards that effectively do deletion effortlessly, basically just so easy. Couldn't even say the word. Example, Mastermon can pretty much delete Digimon pretty swiftly with very little memory cost, which is just, you know, can be a little bit daunting with this build. So you can make the board, but don't expect it to always be not breakable. Let's just say that. But that concludes it for the Digimon. So in terms of the text that we've got in with the options and all that jazz, so Judgment of the Blade, honestly, God, if I could boost this up to 2, I would. I feel like Judgment of the Blade just makes your security just a little bit more spicier. But the thing I do like is essentially being not fully depending on start deck, save your hooks, attacking unsuspended Digimon being the thing here. I think this always shocks people when you're like, oh crap, you've got Judgment of the Blade in this build. It's like, yes, yes I do. Otherwise my security is glass. So able to attack unsuspended is huge. Security effect is also banging as well, because you're able to play a Systemon from hand or trash. This can just come so clutch, and also you get this card in hand, which is just perfect. So not only that you've gained a body, you've gained that on play. So perfect on play would be BT6CL, gain a memory, you can claw back turn, or other instances could be that you put Jesmon Blanc back on the field, and then your blockers are all alive again, which really helps out because, you know, that can just be the difference between you possibly losing the game or you now winning the game, which is massive. So I do run that at 1. Like I said, I would love to run it 2, but it's just no deck space, unfortunately. We do run a nice little cheeky Crimson Blaze for the mirror and also for Bloom Lord. Really, really strong card. Obviously, if they go wide, this just reduces that cost there. Reduces the play cost, which is just massive. And then they can't summon out cards by card effects. Honestly, shuts down Jesmon pretty easily. Bloom Lord, obviously, shutting that down there as well. Really, really strong card. I'd still have to kind of have that in. And then lastly, Master Disciple, we have bumped this up to 4 just because ideally we want to be seeing this in stack, or in security. If we can get it in security, it really just helps us kind of reduce that cost down, Digivolution cost down there for obviously GX plays or whatever EVO plays you're doing. Because the main thing that we want to be doing with this deck is just stop passing over so much memory if you have to go into Jesmon GX, which is just huge. And then it's still a brilliant search card. Searches out all of the sources apart from obviously the things outside of its archetype. And then, like I say, the delay, able to reduce the dissolution cost by 1, massive. Obviously it stacks there too, so obviously we have 2 out, reduce the dissolution cost by 2. Beautiful. Really, really nutty card. Great for choking and just really memory efficient. So that goes for the Jesmon GX build. Let's flick straight on to the Jesmon kind of X antibody, more focused, but we still run GX in it, but it's not our main win con whatsoever. This is something that I've been kind of like using throughout BT10, and I think it's still pretty valuable in BT11 in all honesty. So I'll kind of just reference what I've essentially changed, and just obviously the differences between the two. So obviously the main difference that we obviously still run the Gurumon like best in slot always, just having that extra draw. Is pretty easy in the condition, just swinging with Digimon with 6,000 DPLS. That pretty much just commences from our champion line. Absolutely the source right there. So we do run that at 4. In terms of the rookies, relatively the same. I think the only thing that we've done is boost up the Hookmon just by 1, just because we could, because we reduced the actual count of Jesmon X and Jesmon GX. I think just having a few more rookies just to kind of ensure that we able to get this in raising, search out our Systemons is going to be huge, because our Systemons are the cards that are going to be giving us that control in order for us to kind of overwhelm the opposition. And lastly, like I say, pretty much everything is the same right there. We still run the same ratios for Jesmon Blanc. We still run the same ratio for obviously your Searcher. We don't reduce that down. So then going on to the champions. We have boosted back up the Bow Hook star deck. Just boost it up to 4. Why not? I think it's still a very strong card right here. And we just kind of want to improve that consistency there as well. So we ensure that we can kind of go from Hookmon, Bow Hook, going on to our level 5. In terms of the Systemon ratios, we have boosted back up the BT6CL, because that memory gain is what makes this deck really, really strong. Able to swarm the board with bodies and give little memory to the opposition outside of their memory tamer is massive. If they have a memory tamer out, that's absolutely fine. We'll just play some other Systemons out there. But having that control to kind of reduce our Digivolution cost via memory gain outside of Master to Disciple is pretty huge. So we do run that at 3, and obviously we reduce the BT10 CL to 2, and then our reboot CL to 1. It's not a massive thing to have reboot in this deck, because obviously the amount of systems that we do just swarm out with, so we have just reduced that there. So in terms of the ratios for the ultimates, so ultimates, this is my standard build right now, running Kimmy at 3. Honestly, I absolutely love it at 3. It's the consistency, because you got to think how I look at Chimeramon is that because it's outside of the archetype and I'm playing so many searches, I am most likely going to be bottom decking this. So I just need one Kim in hand, and I am sitting pretty comfortably, especially when you're versing like Blue Flare, which just stuns your whole board, but they don't remove your Digimon. Having Kimmy right here, doing that DNA shenanigans, breaks out that stun, which is just, once again, very powerful right there, and really helped at my locals. So, honestly, run that free staple, and pretty much everything else is the same. So now we go over to the Megas. So Megas right here, we kind of gone with an even 3-3 split on the Jesmon. The reason why is that what we're wanting to do is essentially go to Jesmon, and then we're able to essentially have the option to go to Jesmon X, and you know, happy days from that point. Or if we don't have that, then we can go into this, but then use BT6CL to just reduce the cost of 2, which is just, once again, pretty strong, because we're able to then attack unsuspended, meaning that we can control the field while swinging at the opponent for 13k. And obviously, if we have got BT6CL out, we're going to be swinging for 15, which is just going to just break their board nicely. And then we can kind of throw in a, I don't know, throw a blocker in there with Blanc, which is just obviously going to be nice. Or we can go with a decoy and just set up for next turn. Really, really strong. I feel like just having these two is just the absolute nuts. Can really swarm out the board, can claw back your memory, and then if, depending on if you claw back your turn, you can go into Chimeramon, you've basically DNA'd, you've gone to free, you'll be able to bring something back from trash to slide underneath its source. So if you then gone into, say, I don't know, say save your hook one, for example, or even just the start deck version, you can really facilitate some pretty awesome plays in order for you to swarm the board, which they have to answer. like granted, they have to answer the Jesmon X, but that's just one massive tower. This here, you're creating 2 towers, which are like, well, they're both equally as threatening, and they could GX me right there. So I do love this play, and it's something that I've been running in BT10, and it's been working pretty nicely. So then when you go to kind of the top end, obviously you've got your Gankumon X. I feel like this just running at 1 is a nice little tech. We do obviously have options to search this out pretty comfortably, not as comfortably as, say, like a, you know, as Jesmon line, but regardless, if it's in trash, we can get that back via Jesmon GX, and obviously all of its effects and so forth. Which is just nice. So obviously Jesmon GX at 1. Honestly, don't have much issue getting this card whatsoever. Like I say, sometimes it can be a little bit of a trap. If you're kind of, I don't want to offend someone saying unexperienced in that sense, but if you're thirsty, let's say thirsty, because I put my hands on. When I first started, I was like, Jesmon GX, baby, yeah, and the next minute I'm there, folding up my mat and reporting saying I've lost to my boy Mark. So yeah, you know, you can get a bit thirsty, it can be a little bit of a trap. So the reason why, for me to become a better Jesmon GX player, I actually reduced it down to 1 to stop my dumb ass from doing that. Which is now made me kind of understand, like, you know, when to play it at the right time. And I feel like because there's so much draw in this deck, I have no problem getting this card unless it is in my security. So yeah, we knocked that down to 1. And then from the option lineup, like I say, pretty much relatively the same. We still run that Judgment at 1. I would love to run it at 2. I really would. Judgment is just so strong. Really, it can change the tide massively. And I'm very happy that, like, the Discord, after I've been absolutely advocating this card to everyone, we've seen this kind of come back, because otherwise our security is just ass. Absolutely ass. It's horrible. Crimson Blade, like I said, mirror, and also just other matchups which focus on spawning cards out from effects. And then Master Disciple, we do run this at 3. I still feel like 3 to 4 is just a nice ratio. We don't want to deck ourselves out by running 4, but I feel like 3 is just a really perfect amount. I don't really struggle finding this card whatsoever at 3. So that pretty much concludes my 2 decks for you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. How are you going to tailor your deck for BT11? Are you even going to play Jesmon in BT11? And give me your thoughts on, like, what hits would you like to see before we even hit BT11? Being the main thing. You know, there's definitely rumors of some hits. Cool Boys definitely on the chopping block. It'd be very interesting to see what Bandai do. But let me know in the comments and let's have a discussion. But guys, I will catch you next one. Stay safe, stay fly. Peace out.